But first, let's talk about your TEF Canada exam experience. It happened yesterday.
I was facing because I was losing concentration every now and then.
What difference did you feel in learning French language versus preparing the French language for TEF Canada exam? I have a lot of things to talk about speaking, so we'll be talking about that at the end. One question: do we get pen and paper in any module at all or no? Now then people say how can I learn French in 6 months? Well, you can't. That's Welcome everyone and welcome Rishik. So Rishik just gave his TEF exam in Montreal. So we were like, okay, let's connect with him and let's discuss about how was your experience. And today we are also going to talk a little bit about permanent residency in Quebec, because a lot of people don't really know about the PR aspect when it comes to Quebec, but that's a later thing, specifically for those who are watching from Montreal or Quebec. But first, let's talk about your TEF Canada exam experience. It happened yesterday, right? How was the experience? And basically, how was the day yesterday? What happened and so on?
Yes. So in short, if I would like to say, it was an eye-opener for me, because how we practice a language, how we learn it, how we understand it, how we learn the vocabulary, that's a different thing. But then giving the exam, being in that situation under that timer is something different that I experienced. And yes, after giving the exam, I feel now I have more clarity towards how I'll be approaching with my preparation. I hope it gets cleared in the first attempt itself. However, now I have more clarity and experience. So yeah, experience in short, it was an eye-opener. And I would say the exam is not easy. Although I shouldn't say everything is easy, but then actually it will take some serious efforts to clear it. And that I realized after the attempt.
Okay. And what difference did you feel in learning French language versus preparing the French language for TEF Canada exam?
So yeah, learning was fun. No one really cares if you make mistake or something. But then when you are serious about the language with the perspective of exam, it is oh, I don't have to make grammar mistake. If you want to write something, when you are just learning the language, you don't care about grammar or tenses, but now I have to use variety of vocabulary. My spelling should be correct, my grammar should be correct, my ideas should be should be making sense what I write with the topic. So yeah, exam is in that way a bit different. Even for reading, let's say I just read an article in the newspaper, I would feel very nice after reading it. Okay, I understood. But then when there are 4 options and they are similar to each other and I have to choose what this paragraph is saying, that's where exam is a bit towards the other end.
Okay, so let's talk module by module. How was the experience in reading, listening, speaking and writing? I have a lot of things to talk about speaking, so we'll be talking about that at the end. First, start from reading and listening. How was in reading specifically, how was time management while giving the TEF Canada exam?
Okay, so talking about module by module, first was for the reading. Like you told, time management in reading was, I believe someone can do it. It's manageable for the reading. It's just that mental blockage shouldn't be there, which I was facing because I was losing concentration every now and then. It was my first attempt where when we read and when we don't know some vocabulary, of course we lose the flow. So that was happening, but then reading is manageable in the respected time if the students just continue proceeding further, not stuck at some particular question. Yeah. But listening just came and went like that. And in this listening, Quebecois accent was there, French was there. Then all the radio sounds, noise and everything was mixed up, fast audios, slow pitch audios. Yeah. So with the noise, so all the different types of audios were there, and listening just goes very quickly. As soon as we listen, we have to be sure what the answer is. We cannot afford to be double-minded, because then questions are on this side of the screen, on the other side is the timer, and that too is very small. So by the time you see timer, you lose 3-4 seconds. And then it's only 10 or 15 seconds on average for one question to answer. It won't really help checking the timer, just give it off. So that's what I understood. Listening and reading, listening at first glimpse, whatever you feel, give it off the answer. And reading, it's manageable. Reading won't be a big issue. It's just that vocab should be strong. So yeah, regarding that.
for reading, we get 40 questions in 60 minutes. So, I remember as well that for every question, for every section of the whole 40 questions, there used to be different screens. Did that confuse you? Because, I remember when I was giving my first attempt, I was like, why there are like 42 or 44 screens? Like, are there 44 questions or something like that? What's going on?
So that's what, like, for their instructions also, they will put it as ekhain 1, ekhain 7. So we get confused, like, on which question actually we are. We won't be able to realize that. And at the same time, like how we give mock test, so we have below the question, we have all the answers like displayed, but there it will be dropped down. So let's say there are two questions together. So in one question, first you see the drop down, but the second question you won't see the options. The moment you are going there, you'll lose it first. So it's like, again, reading will help in listening. Like, we have to be
correct. We discuss it in a session.
Eventually, it's about reading and speed.
Speed as well. Correct. Because for listening, for listening exam, it's one thing just understanding the audio, and then there is another thing, understanding the question plus understanding in depth that what each option is trying to say. So that is not a reading. That's not a listening skill. That's more sort of like a reading skill that we need to work on, and a lot of understanding of synonyms of verbs has to be there in order to do well in that. So okay, so time was manageable. 40 questions for reading, that was manageable.
And that confusion is there related to screen. But again, we have to go through it. That's their interface.
Correct. But questions will be 40. It says that the interface, like, it might show like different.
Yes, it will show up to some 50 numbers.
So listening. How was the listening from the beginning? Because obviously the questions, the difficulty of questions will increase with each progression. And were you able to manage time properly, or like was it slow enough for the first 20 questions? And what was it like in the next 20 questions?
Okay, so first 20 questions I realized like it abruptly stops like at some question, because while I was giving mock, it was having a proper ending, but in the exam, that's what I noticed, like suddenly they stop it, and let's say they will show the audio duration as 30 seconds that they'll be playing. So in that 30 seconds, there will be 10 seconds by default time to read the question. Then the audio will start, and then the same audio will finish with the time that will be there, last 10 seconds to answer the question. So we will not really know like, okay, this is 2 minutes 50 seconds, but everything will be mixed in that audio. So that way, what I realized was, first 20 questions, if we talk about, they are quite manageable, but then regarding that opinion also, like mikrotwars or something, so there also, I thought that, okay, I'll get to know very easily if they are towards it, but then they'll speak some sentence and abruptly it will stop. So it makes us think, oh no, were they on the side, were they not agreeing, were they confused? So that was a bit challenging for me in the first 20 questions that I didn't expect. And last 20 questions, yes, audios are really long, like really long. You'll get fatigued listening.
Like it's literally 2.5 minute audios. Like while the time you are like a 2 minute audio is going on, you are trying to focus on what is they are speaking in the present moment, but you are also forgetting what they spoke earlier.
And then also I noticed like I thought that in that 2 questions, the examiner will interrupt as in 2 people are talking, so first person will ask some question, then that person will answer, then again it will ask some other question and it will answer. But then I also saw in some audio, I also heard that it was 3 times they were asking. So then I was like, okay, which answer will be for first one, which will be for second one? So that comes as a bit of challenge to us.
And talking about the French accent in your listening exam, how much do you think was Quebecois accent, how much do you think was Parisian accent, and how much was like African accent as well, because there are some of those audios as well. So what do you think?
So Quebecois accent I would say was around 20-25%.
Okay, not bad. Not bad. That's
too much. Yeah, it was, and that too in some questions it was like I would say 25%, and maximum was
French, Parisian accent.
French, and then somewhere was that French wherein that R is being pronounced, and that way like African, or maybe if some other people are speaking French. So that way, few audios were there, like 1 or 2. So complete package is there for all the types of.
Sounds good, which is good. So I know you talked about that, for last 20 questions, the speed of the listening was like very quick. The questions went by very quick. So for students, for people those who are, let's say if they have booked their first attempt, obviously first attempt comes like a very surprising attempt, right? So what recommendation, like what did you observe in listening on what are the important things to take into consideration?
Okay, for listening, I would say now when I'll say from my perspective what I will do, so maybe someone can relate. So my approach would be like to understand what actually they are trying to say. Before, what I was doing was, okay, I'm listening any news or some RFI reportage or something, TV Sangmon. So I would pause it and then try to understand the word, what they are saying. I would break it, but now it will be like I should stick to the audio for 2.5-3 minutes, and then I should be able to conclude it. If I want to say it to someone, let's say in Hindi, English or any language, I should be able to tell someone that, okay, this is what I heard and this is what it is trying to say. So now I'll not worry much about those details, but I will worry about overall understanding. That is my...
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think because we have discussed it with all the other students as well, those who are doing TEF prep, is that when you guys are doing the listening for during your exam, and when you have the questions as well and you have the audio as well, do not focus too much on reading the options when you get first moment of time. Just like focus on understanding the overall overview, basically overview of the audio, because when we first read the question and try to figure out all the options beforehand, our brain will always filter out. It will try to filter out the information in the audio, which works counterproductively.
Correct.
So yeah, that's a good advice that you give, that try to conclude the overall information rather than just like trying to focusing on one particular thing, because we in our mind we might be thinking, okay, in the options this looks like a good option, let me try listening to that if that is that option is there, but we are kind of like ignoring all the other important components which will help us to strengthen the context, which is important.
And I remember, like you told this point in the class, you already touched this point, and in exam what happened was I decided, like while practicing, I'll read the options, I'll close my eyes, listen to it, and then I'll open and I'll see the appropriate answer. But in the exam, the tendency of the mind is to go to default, like what is the safest option. So I kept my eyes open and I was reading, and then it was making me getting distracted from the audio itself. So I would say here we have to trust ourselves, that read it first, and then if you are like strong enough to not get distracted from, if you are focused enough, then it's okay. But otherwise I would say, yes, don't look the options while the audio is being played, and focus and understand, like practice that way.
True.
So once you open your eyes, you'll see, okay, this answer suits the best, and at least you'll be able to eliminate 2 options easily.
Correct.
For sure.
And now reading is done, listening is done. Mainly it's more about concentration, honestly, because if we are properly focused, we obviously cannot miss on the context, and we'll be able to manage time to answer them.
Absolutely.
Before talking about speaking, let's talk about writing now. How was the writing experience? Was it easy to write with the on-screen keyboard? And we'll overall discuss about each section one by one. So from section and section B, how was it?
So yeah.
Just a quick update, Frenchify with Vyom new website is live, and you will be able to go onto that website to book a meeting with my team so that you can get a proper consultation in terms of your profile and how to start learning French. And also you'll be able to browse through different programs. If you're a beginner, you'll start from A1 intensive program and move step by step. So if you need proper help learning French and use all the experience and tips and techniques that I will share personally, make sure to go onto the website and browse through everything and book a meeting to get started.
First of all, in general, if we talk about writing with the keyboard, like you advised, I just memorized all the shortcuts with Alter. So that was very easy. I don't have to go to mouse again and then tap that. So I was just, my fingers, like while practicing, I was so used to that now I don't even realize, and I am able to write it with keyboard itself. But then the interface is easy enough to just click the button and you'll see that letter. So that is nothing to worry about. It was just that while we practice in Microsoft Word, Google Docs, like we have everything at once, but there the space was very less.
Correct.
So like I have to, let's say, I have, if I have some ideas written on the top, I have to again and again go and see the idea and then make the sentence. So that thing related to interface, I would say. Now talking about section A. Section A, the question, both of the questions I got were similar to what we practiced. Like one was, okay, on a road, one child of 8 years age was found, and that was restricted road. Some construction was going on. So then I added up, like there was a break in this school nearby, and then he went over there. So that way I made up some things. So it was similar to what we practiced like during our mocks. And then section B, so section A, yes, like 20-30% we can use the template, and then we have to make the sentences. So structure was the same, like 2-3-2, and that really helped me to stay focused and be in the words limit. So that. And section B again, like our classroom education, like online classes are good, or it should be in person. So something like that was there. And then for writing, okay, I would say section B is like balance of 3 things. First, idea. Second is grammar, and third is spelling. So your idea should be in a way that you can use grammar easily, and then your spelling should be right. So what difficulty I face, like because everything is good, no one will know. What I'll say, bad experience was that idea were coming to my mind, but then I was not able to formulate it with the correct grammar.
Because sometimes the thing is we also think too complex ideas.
Too complex,
which is not needed. So it's kind of like if you're, the thing is the ideas which comes in our mind, they come in English.
Exactly.
Right, and our English is at this level, and the ideas which are coming in French, they are like, if you want to write something in French, our French is at this level. So this is the reason why there is a lot of confusion, or our brain freezes when it tries to write something. Same thing happens in speaking. The ideas which are coming in our mind, they are in English, which are coming at this level, but in French we are currently at this level.
Correct.
So intentionally we have to reduce the complexity of English ideas in order to kind of frame in French properly, because naturally our brain will be doing translation from English to French. Usually what happens is if someone is complete beginner, they do word to word translations, which we don't do as a intermediate to advanced learners. But yes, still there is the translation of idea. For example, a study published by Harvard University, Une étude parue par l'université d'Ottawa, right? These ideas are still from English to French. But it's just that once we dissect it down into simpler chunks, it becomes a lot easier to convey the same idea, but with a good coherency.
Correct.
So that is very important in section B. Section A, again, same thing, Section A is also a good play between how we use our past tenses plus how we connect each of those timelines. Like for example, if you're saying a story that everything started when this person, or like in your situation it was regarding the kid, a kid was found in this particular XYZ, and then next paragraph would be everything started
when there was a break in the
something like that. So it's important to use those connectors and keep things simple, not too complex.
Exactly.
Our brain always goes to that default that now this is writing, I have to flex my language, but that becomes counterproductive.
And then spelling also turns out to be a challenge, like because like EU, that placement of like if you're saying author, then EU or UE lecture and all those things, like arrondissement. So I'll be like, okay, double R were there, double S was there. So that way.
One confusion I always used to have was appartement. With single P in English, double P.
And even simple thing like when we say je m'appelle, like il s'appelle or something, there also double L, double P, double E with things. So that confusion, like when we practice, we don't face it, but then when we write the exam, that spelling
genders as well,
and gender
very because I remember this was my attempt when I cleared, but still I was very much confused about the gender of protein, because it was regarding vegan food, we must eat vegan food, that was the topic, and I was like I wrote protein so many times, what was the gender, so you just forget it. So
and these basic things like affect you from overall conveying your idea and writing it down. So
and one thing important is that it's important to still move away from it. Like if you just it's a lot of students may make this mistake that when they, let's say they start section B, they sometimes spend a little bit too much time into writing their first paragraph. Like there are 3 paragraphs, first paragraph you spend too much time, and now there is less time for next 2 paragraphs. Why? Because you were trying to make your first paragraph perfect, but that cannot happen. You just have to follow the same kind of momentum that you usually do in your practices. This is again, just think it as one of your practice. It's not an exam, because like when you go in that mindset of exam, then you are like, okay, I have to make it perfect, right?
And exactly that's what I did in my exam. Like first paragraph I gave so much time, then when I saw the timer, okay, now 7-8 minutes are left and I have to write other 2 paragraphs. In first paragraph I gave like 15-20 minutes and that was way too high. So after that I had to just write whatever comes to my mind without even reflecting if spelling is correct or grammar. So yeah, like you told, moving on from it is also an important aspect. Yeah.
Same thing with reading. Like in reading this but anyway, so yeah, I think that's pretty much about writing. Writing, again, you know, if anyone who's watching this, if they're already taking coaching or something, or if they would like to take coaching, it's very important that you get your writings checked so that you can see where you are doing mistakes, because just writing won't help you improve your writing. There needs to be a proper analysis.
It all starts with idea, like I told, like ideas, then grammar, then spelling. So
correct.
Ideas is the
it's like a base foundation of it. Speaking. I was speaking.
So speaking was my strongest module, I would say. And it was unpredictable. First of all, my center didn't give me pen paper.
Okay.
So I was not able to write any notes for that 1 minute of time.
Okay. And we get just to sorry to interrupt, one question: do we get pen and paper in like any module at all or no?
At my center, no. There were clear instructions like you can't carry anything or we won't give you anything. It was fully computer based. And speaking also, I believe most of the center gives, but my center again didn't give. So we have to be prepared. Like don't make an habit of like I'll self-pip, like we have to write something. Just
sure.
So I was not given.
So coming back to that point of speaking, unexpected. What was unexpected?
So yeah, like although it was my strongest module, the counters, like when we practice, we kind of have a mindset. Okay, like conversation will happen in a way. Okay, one query, I answer it. One rejection, I answer it. Another rejection, I answer it. But then in the exam, they like interrupt you in between. So I'll tell you with example. In beginning, like when I was telling them, okay, ça fait longtemps qu'on se vu since we met, and he was like, really long time, like 3 days back only we met. So in the first 20 seconds only he interrupted me. So and we prepare it like 3-4 minutes. We'll explain first. So yeah, second thing I faced was, okay, so even I did the same, and yeah, the examiner was impatient, so like I could maximum I could go was till 2-3 minutes. Then he started, yes. So I was reading his body language and he was not having patience at all to like, and whatever I was saying, from that only he was interrupting and answering. So a second scenario I faced was, so last year I also did the same activity. I told him as a counter, and he was like last year you did it, so why don't you want to do it for this year too? So I'm told, okay, I have a job right now. So he's like, so you have a job and why do you want to convince me? Like, because well, me. I told how we speak in class. So yeah, I told, and then he's like, okay, but then why not any other friend? So at this point, okay, he has accepted, like you are my good friend, but even on top of it, he is just sticking to that argument that, okay, then like, but why not other? And then I also told like, okay, I saw the reviews and I came to know that everyone liked it. They have 4.9 stars and all those things. So then he was like, but you know, every person is different, every individual. So how you can think that I will like it? What if I don't like it? So that kind of scenarios, like we don't see in like YouTube videos when we have mock tutorials, like all over YouTube we see people giving mock, but this was something out of the box, and that's where like your mindset, because I've seen many people say like go through templates, like I've seen so many YouTube videos like prepare the template and answer it that way, but you have since beginning you have told us like be spontaneous, like don't rely on something and just be spontaneous, be creative, and listen to it properly and then respond, not just react like, okay, I will throw a template answer. So although I prepared some template answers, but I was not able to use it. Everything.
Because the thing is, over here, let's say if you would have prepared like a template or like a kind of crammed the whole sentence. Over here, there was it wouldn't be possible in any way to like say all those answers, because they can work, but they only work for certain scenarios. Let's say if someone says, oh, I don't have enough time, or this is expensive, sure, you can learn the ideas for those things, but in order to respond these scenarios, you actually need a very good hold of the language itself, which you cannot fake.
Correct.
So yeah, very important that now people are like, oh, what's the best template for section B, give me template. It's like, if you make the template, sure, make your own template, but that should be like your 20 to 30% of your overall what you do in section B. Rest is all spontaneity. Yeah, so that is very
crucial. So a template, I remember like in the class once you interrupted me because I was forcefully trying to tell the activity is costly, and then you'll say it's very costly, and then I would say my template, okay, if you go to restaurant and if you eat, but then I realized, like you told me, like don't use this strategy, be logical as well, because then you can fall into any situation wherein examiner might ask something very logical and you will not have any response to it. So from that point, like I got it, and it's good that whatever I practiced, everything was spontaneous, and I was not making notes in the classes as well, so the same thing happened in exam and I had to be spontaneous. So this way the experience was different, but I believe I gave my best, like in the speaking. I didn't had a long pause, or I was not at a point wherein, okay, what is this word called in French? Whatever was slipping out of my mouth was something, although errors of course I'll make, grammatical errors, but then that flow was there, fluency was there, just because of that mindset, okay, whatever will come, I'll answer accordingly. So
and it comes more with the ability to express the language. Like we cannot, like same point, we cannot fake this. We cannot be like, oh, now then people say, how can I learn French in 6 months? Well, you can't. That's the thing. So the thing is, you cannot really fake things over here. It has to come naturally, which still takes at least like 12 months to properly prepare and be able to do that. 10 to 12 months, something like that. Okay, so Rishik, I'll also have some like FAQs I've prepared for you. I wanted to ask some of these very important questions. So first question would be, when did your preparation got intense? How many hours in particular were you putting before like this exam specific prep?
So before, like I told, I was doing my full-time job, and that was like really time consuming. I come back home 6 p.m. in the evening. So after that 4 hours I have approximately. So my preparation got intense when I got 2 weeks of vacation at my job. So that's where like I purposefully, although it's pretty early, like you also told, you can wait a bit, but then I wanted to give the attempt so that to get the experience. So these 10 days wherein I was fully home, I was able to develop a structure of studying. So these 10 days, like religiously I was putting efforts. Before that it was on and off with respect to the mood. But finally since last 10 days, when I booked the exam, after that.
Perfect. Now that you've given your TEF exam, you've given your first attempt, what do you think? Is TEF exam more about the actual language skill, or is there like any specific strategy or thing we can do that will just make us clear?
It's a blend of both the things. Like if you know the language, but if you don't have strategies, you'll fail. If you know the strategies but not the language, so it's a blend of both. Correct. And nothing specific, I would say.
Perfect. So let's talk quickly about Quebec as well, Quebec PR system, because you're currently in Montreal, you might have a little better idea of how system works over here in terms of French. So let's say if someone knows French, CLB 5 or 7, we'll talk about both scenarios. What are the options of PR over here in Quebec?
So here, before it used to be a bit easy, like after master's graduation, if you have studied in Quebec, straight away you can give French exam, get 7/7 in 2 modules, speaking and listening, and that's all. You can put your file, but now it's like a point-based system, and for being eligible to that graduate program, you need to have studied like last 6 months at least of your education, whatever degree or diploma you have done in French. So that is a bit hard like now. And second option is like if you have studied here, if you have a job here, that is PTSQ something, like regular skilled worker program. So there they focus tier 0, 1 and 2. So not 3 but 0, 1 and 2, and same point based system is there. So there is an ARIMA portal, like IRCC have a portal. So we put our profile over there, like English score, French score, and job offer what we have. They'll check like if it's falling under 0, 1 or 2, and then every month 2 or maybe 1 draw will come, and then same like age, everything will be taken into account, and that way like cutoff will come, and if you fall under it, they will invite you. And talking about French, like minimum 7.7 in speaking, listening, and oral, and then written and reading, writing and reading is 5.5, like that is required for it. So yeah, you should have an active job offer in Quebec and education in Quebec. That's how your profile will be like on a good level to get qualified for it.
Okay.
And third is also there, but I'm not sure about it. I don't have much clarity because I only know about these two because it relates more to my profile. So yeah, first one is eliminated, that PEQ something. So this regular skilled worker program, you should be working in Quebec, and then 7755, and same like IRCC, put everything and you'll get a cutoff.
Yeah, so it's kind of like express entry system, but for Quebec.
But for
basically.
Quebec, yes.
Yeah, so like what's your current profile in Quebec, and can you give us like an overall calculation? You don't have to tell exact numbers, but like an overall that this is where your points fall and this is how easy it is after giving exam.
Okay, so like for education, they have some 12, 15, 12, 10 points. For age, they have 10, 12. So with my profile, that way like English points are 14, 16 something. So it's like 16, 14, 12 respect to your score. Then for French also. So overall, their cutoff is around 65, 70 points, and my points will be around 80 with the 1.5 year of experience and my education in Quebec, master's degree, bachelor's in India.
Yeah.
So everything will bring to around 80, and then cutoff is around 60, 70 points. So that won't be a problem. Just French is done, and then.
So Rishik, one very important question. It will help other students decide this as well. That when for you was the right time to book your first attempt? Like what was that point that okay, I have to give this exam, or what made you decide to give the exam?
Okay, so when I was able to, again module by module. So in reading, when I was able to, like when I saw any random mock test on YouTube, and first 20 questions, I was able to, like, let's say while giving the mock, some of them are wrong, but then I was able to understand the logic behind them. Okay, this is simple and it should have been correct. So first 20 questions, reading, listening, if you have that capacity to, like logically understand that, okay, this is the correct answer. That's where for those two modules, you can believe that, okay, now you are ready for the first attempt. And writing, again, like you will need someone, like you can't judge it on your own. So ask to someone, like if you are able to write, you use grammar, correct spelling, you have ideas, and that way writing, I would say. But writing is like efforts are directly proportional. It's not about volume, but it's about quality work. So side by side, if you are doing like every day 2 lines also you are writing, and if you are thinking that okay, now ChatGPT or some other translator is not showing any error, that time you can understand, okay, my ideas, I am able to translate them into words. So that is for writing. And for speaking, again, like if you can just check with someone or with like simply recording yourself, that given on any random 5 topics, let's say you are able to ask 10 question each on every topic. Put any random topic in front of you for section A, and if you are able to ask 10 questions, let's say 4 of them are repeating in every 5 topics. So that's where you can say, okay, you are ready for section A speaking. And then last thing will be, if you have spontaneity, like you are able to speak something on your own without memorizing, you are able to make sentences, that's where like section B also ready. So this way, in short, I would break it down, and I would say now you can find out that if you are able to do at least these things, then you are good for giving your first attempt, because exam experience is really critical to open your eyes and to know, like, because every individual is different. So where you are lacking, let's say for some person concentrating on reading, like they don't get distracted easily, like it's easy for them to focus. But so every individual should understand. So that way 20 questions, reading, listening, give mock. If you are able to make them all correct, for writing, again, if you are able to write at least 5-10 sentences and translate your ideas into words in French language, it's good. And then speaking also, if you are able to speak like exam specific. If you are able to speak, then you are good to give your attempt.
Correct. Okay, so yeah, it's mainly about to experience the exam, not to like clear, because obviously in order to clear the exam, the goals will be completely different, the competency will be completely different. So yeah, that's also to understand. But yeah, thank you so much, Rishik. I think this experience that you shared for your first attempt will help other students to not make the same mistakes during their first attempt and as well, and hopefully their first attempt would be their last attempt. That's what my goal is for everyone, right? But thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Rishik, for giving this information.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, wow.